It's the spring of 1900. You're trapped inside a 100-pound cage of canvas and iron, walking blindly across a freezing, uncharted seafloor off the coast of a tiny island called Antikythera. 60 meters beneath the surface of the Aegean Sea, there is no light, there is only pressure. Every breath you take is a gamble. Your life depends entirely on a fragile rubber hose stretching through the black water to a wooden boat that's being tossed around in a violent storm. If that hose kinks, you suffocate. If your crew pulls you up too fast, your blood will literally boil inside your veins. You take a heavy leading step forward into the mud. Your lantern sweeps across the gloom, and your heart stops. Emerging from the dark is a nightmare of tangled wreckage, ghostly rotting timbers, disembodied marble arms reaching up from the silt, and corroded life-sized bronze faces staring blankly into the void. You've stumbled onto a massive ancient Roman shipwreck, a tomb forgotten for 2,000 years. Terrified, you grab a fragment of bronze to prove what you saw and signal frantically for the crew to pull you up out of the abyss. To the researchers at the museum, your prize looks like absolute junk, just a green calcified lump of rock and corrosion. They throw it in the basement and forget about it. Until years later, when the rock suddenly splits open. Deep inside the stone, scientists find something that shouldn't exist. Dozens of miniature interlocking precision cut gear teeth. You didn't just find ancient art down there in the dark. You just unearthed a 2,000-year-old computer. For 2 years, the mysterious green lump sat in a crate at the National Archaeological Museum in Athens. Surrounded by breathtaking gold jewelry and masterful marble statues recovered from the wreck, the corroded rock was completely ignored. It was considered ugly, and it looked like a calcified piece of wood. Then on May 17, 1902, an archaeologist named Valerio Stais noticed something strange. The wood casing on the fragment had completely dried out, it shrunk, and it split right down the center. Peering into the fracture, his jaw drops. Encased inside the ancient stone isn't bone or wood. It is a gear, it's a literal gear, beautifully cast in bronze, with dozens of tiny triangular teeth interlocking with another wheel, buried deeper into the mass. The museum goes into a panic. They check the Roman shipwreck's data again. The ship sank around 60 BC, over 2,000 years ago. But according to every history textbook on Earth, complex multi-gear machines weren't invented until the 14th century. To find a precision-cut gear train in the ancient Mediterranean was the equivalent of finding a digital wristwatch inside the tomb of King Tut. It simply shouldn't exist. For decades, mainstream science tried to dismiss it, claiming it must have been dropped by a modern ship passing over the ancient wreck centuries later. Their technology was just too advanced for ancient Greece. It wasn't until a century later, when scientists blasted the fragmented pieces with high resolution industrial CT scanners, that the full terrifying truth was revealed. Locked inside the stone weren't just one or two crude wheels. There were 82 separate fragments containing over 30 interlocking bronze gears. And they weren't just thrown together, they were calculated with absolute mathematical perfection. Even more shocking, the scanners picked up thousands of microscopic characters etched directly into the bronze casing. It wasn't just a random machine, it was a manual, and scientists were able to read the instructions. When researchers finally translated the microscopic Greek text, they realized they weren't looking at an ancient weapon or clock or a simple navigation compass. They were looking at a literal simulator of the cosmos, a mechanical computer. By turning a single hand crank on the side of the wooden box, the user could fast forward or rewind time itself. On the front dial, Three separate needles track the exact daily positions of the sun, the moon, and all five planets known to the ancient world: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. But it gets deeper. On the back of the device, a spiral dial tracked a complex 19-year-old calendar used to align the solar system with the phases of the moon. Another dial could predict solar and lunar eclipses down to the exact hour, hundreds of years into the future. It even tracked the 4-year cycle of the ancient Olympic Games. To achieve this, the builder had to invent a differential gear train, a mechanical system that allows two different axles to rotate at different speeds. It's the exact same engineering concept used in the drivetrain of modern cars today. Who could have possessed this level of genius? Historians point to the ancient mathematical titans like Archimedes or the astronomer Hipparchus. But the identity of the builder isn't even the most unsettling part of this story. The true mystery of this strange mechanism isn't just how it was made, it's what happens next. Standard history tells us that technology is a straight line, that humanity constantly builds upward, getting smarter and more advanced every century. But this machine shatters that timeline completely. After this shipwreck sank in 60 BC, the technology to build anything even resembling it completely vanished from the historical records. For the next 1500 years, nothing this advanced would be built by human hands again. It forces us to ask a terrifying question: what other advanced heights did ancient civilization reach, only to be swallowed by time, war, and the sea? How much of our own history have we forgotten? The earth is still hiding the answers, but it always keeps receipts. Maybe we won't have to wonder much longer. If you want to keep diving into these forgotten cold cases and historical anomalies with us, check out the links in the description below or tap your screen right now to watch the next episode. Make sure to follow and subscribe so you never miss an episode. See you next Sunday.